Stay tuned for the show. Poets at War is sponsored by the following.
I'm Ian Wilson, and I create graphic art using primarily traditional methods, supplementing with digital where it's needed. I use a real pen, a real paper, a real graphite to make my art. I like to feel my art. I've always been this way. I love the feeling of a pen or pencil in my hand, the sound of graphite scratching paper, and I love the sight of a nice black line making its way across the page. So why choose traditional art over digital? Traditional art has an organic, natural quality that seems to be missing from most digital illustrations. The illustrated books and comics that were made in the days before digital have an excellence and staying power that is just as vibrant now as it was decades ago. These are the stories that stay with you. Dr. Seuss, Winnie the Pooh, Where the Wild Things Are. People still read these. I'm currently working on my own graphic novel series, Legend of the Swordbearer, and I've also had the privilege to draw graphics for 2 motion comic series, along with illustrations for a small magazine, Logosophia magazine, and various book covers. Don't let traditional art fade into the dust. Help me keep it alive. You won't regret it. Visit my website at ianthomaswilson.com for more info.
Greetings, soldiers. Welcome to the battlefield. We are here with Chocolate Knox to discuss his journey into all kinds of metaphysics on Knox Unplugged and many other things surrounding the Fight Laugh Feast conference. Enjoy this short but awesome Poets at War!
Using this with a lav, just walking around just for my own personal reference, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot better than storing all video and whatever else. So, but yeah, man, yeah, I can only imagine what you're going through. That might actually be helpful for you at some point, what with
having a mic on.
Yeah, having a mic on you just for personal reference, going back with stuff, you know, with all this. Every time I see you working with folks, just walking around the floor, doing everything, it's just crazy to me, right? Like, just the amount of people, I can't imagine, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's fun. It really is, though.
Yeah.
These are people. Are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
Okay,
we are.
I like the way you do it.
I'm smooth.
I don't know. I like recording like this. Most people ain't ready, so I say stuff that doesn't get recorded. I'm like, man, that was my best.
Well, the other thing I wanted to say is anything I want to combine I'm not wasting your time. I want to combine any feedback you have for me for Poets at War with this, and whatever flow you want to go with, and anything I have to cut from the conversation that you want me to cut from the conversation, I'll cut from the conversation.
Yeah, there's nothing
I figured not, but I want to give you that option so you can talk about whatever you want, because it's just you and me for just a second, you know, and I don't want to waste your time, right?
You're not wasting my time. The conference is probably one of the most unique environments that I'll probably be in every year, because it's the only time that people get a chance to really talk back to us face to face.
Right.
Usually throughout the week we do a daily show. It's Monday through Friday. Then I'll do Knox Unplugged, or I'll do Jason Whitlock, and those people are watching. But to have them interact with us, to come back and push back on thoughts that we might say,
right,
and have them give us their thoughts and make us better because they're here,
right,
and they help shape and form how we communicate, what we choose to communicate on, and how we frame that communication. And so I love our conferences. I love when people come, because we don't get a chance to have these kind of dialogues on a day-to-day basis.
Right, exactly, so, yeah.
I try and expend myself to the complete end so that we can get as much conversation and communication in with each other.
Yeah. Did you get to hear Toby's talk about Narnia?
I did not.
You need to go back and listen to that, because I know you just finished at least 90%. Did you finish the last battle yet? I know you said you hadn't.
I haven't finished the last battle.
I haven't finished the last battle yet, but you're reading through Narnia, so you read through.
I think I had like 1 or 2 books left.
Do you have a favorite yet?
My son asked me that.
Or favorite moment, even.
of it's so good, and none of it's like, it just sticks out. There is a line, there's a couple lines that people tell me that I haven't read yet that I think I want to have be my favorite.
Yeah, because you're doing the radio theater, which is abridged, but not that abridged. So
I don't have a favorite, but there's moments that I see what Lewis is doing, and it feels like I can tangibly smell the world that he's created.
Yeah.
And so there's moments where that happens. I think Reaper Chief, the characters that he has helps me understand people better. Jason Farley, I know who Jason Farley is. He's Reaper Chief.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And absolutely. He said that before, but I didn't get it until I listened to it. And I was like, oh, that is so Jason.
Yeah.
It's
one of the ones that always stood out to me is Jill Pole in the silver chair.
Yeah.
Mainly because I was raised Covenant child. I've told you before, Presbyterian church, that sort of thing, and her conversion was instantaneous, out of nowhere, and she basically was given these. I'm not going to be with you, but here are the things that you need to remember and follow.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's been my life. Where I know I have to remind myself I'm not following the signs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not following the signs. I'm not remembering the signs, in the face of all the chaos of this world. I
just saw Gabe's mom carrying a box over here. I'm like, why is she carrying a box?
Why is she carrying a box?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so you've been. I talked your ear off at the last year's thing, especially when we were wrapping up toward the end,
and we had some good smoke and conversation out there.
Yeah, and back, like, you've gone on such a journey with Knox Unplugged. A lot of my listeners, I've been telling them Knox Unplugged, listen to it. It's great stuff. It's the kind of stuff Jason and I have been our kindred spirits, and I've had him on twice now.
Have you?
I have. Yeah.
I had no idea.
And each time we went way longer than we were expecting.
That's how you go with Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his time limit? What's your longest show with Jason?
I think my longest one uncut would have been about an hour 45.
I got you.
You totally did. But I would talk with him longer. I'm just trying to be respectful, whatever. But like the whole thing with that is, like, he and I both have been telling people for years and years and years. Probably about the same amount of time, because I was born. I'm younger than him, but I was doing it from a very young age. All this metaphysical stuff. This is stuff that we just have kind of seen instinctively. He kind of grew into it, whatever. But it's like, and Toby's talk, he absolutely, basically blew all of that out with a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah.
The stuff Jason's talking about and what everything else.
Everything that Toby does is with a double barrel shotgun.
Oh yeah, that's what I love.
So you're not gonna get around that with Toby. He's always double barrel.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, I talked to you last year, and I was trying to tell you all this stuff all at once, and it was ridiculous and crazy and jumbled and whatever.
No, but I put it together.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Eventually got it together, but I mean, I can't help but feel like that, combined with all the other great influences that you have, like Jason and other people, even at this conference that you've talked to, all the Narnia. You're finally through first reading of most of it, and like you're going through Dante with him. You're going through all this poetry.
Man, I can tell you about Dante. It's so good for me.
And I mean, not to just rehash everything that's going on Knox Unplugged, but like, I was so excited just seeing you go through that, because I see you have an eye for beauty. You love making things beautiful. You love doing media and telling stories. And I couldn't have been able to tell years ago that you didn't have the metaphysic, all the other kind of stuff, because you were operating in that way. And now it's like you're waking up to the why.
Sometimes just because a person knows how to throw a baseball, and they can get it from one place to the other, doesn't mean that they should be a pitcher.
Right.
And so it takes skill of throwing the baseball a particular type of way, with a particular type of grip and a particular type of hold, to make it do what you want a baseball to do if you're playing baseball.
Right.
And so the more that I've gotten from, I guess you can think about them, them getting into the major leagues and AAA, whatever, I'm learning that, you're going to have to develop your skill set if you want to actually strike out batters.
Yeah.
And for the lack of a better, analogy, I'm learning how to throw a baseball like a pitcher and not like a kid playing in the field.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
And part of that in this particular context is learning literature, grasping etymology, loving words, spending the time in to do the things that people normally think would be boring, like reading a dictionary.
Right.
But if I know that I'm working, if a baseball is the main tool by which I am used to play the game, I better know how to hold it, grip it, catch it, roll it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dodge it, hit it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I've learned is most people who are in these fields don't.
Right. Yeah.
Or if they do, they've gotten to the major leagues throwing the ball a horrible way. They've never gotten any better at it. But they just stay on their shtick, and I want to be well-rounded.
Yeah, you want to be Greg Maddux instead of Randy Johnson, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't know who those guys are.
Well, that's okay. You're not a baseball guy.
It's Nolan Ryan.
No.
I got out of baseball.
Nolan Ryan, yeah.
I got out of baseball when Bo Jackson retired. Really.
Okay, fair enough.
So
I had the Braves to fall back on and everything because I grew up in Atlanta and everything.
Kansas City Royals was the last time, when they had.
Yeah.
Was Cal Ripken? Who was at Kansas City for a while?
Not Cal. Cal wasn't there. He was Baltimore his whole time.
Okay. Who was
George Brett. That's
what it was.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
George Brett. That was my era of baseball.
Okay, I got you.
And that's when I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, to pivot on the idea of learning the skill and that sort of a thing, you've watched a little bit of Poets at War. You don't have to give me full extent if you don't want, but I'm just interested because I've ever since I saw you guys were starting Fight Laugh Feast Network, because I was with you right around the time you started the actual network, right? Yeah. I was like, these guys are my guys, and I feel like one of the big things that the network could benefit from, and Knox Unplugged is partially filling that hole, is this sort of metaphysics, Narnia, Tolkien, the idea of nobility and cultivating that in noble knighthood and trying to be noble men and women singing around the throne of Christ, in our regular everyday lives, through literature, through all those sorts of things, and just continue that. So, bluntly, what do I have to do to get on the network? But also just where do you see where I'm at? What would you like to see in the future, the little bit that you've seen? And I just want to hear your thoughts, man.
Well, the network is unique because we don't. Part of what the network is doing is trying to build out certain areas that are both commercial and non-commercial at the same time.
Of course, yeah.
So
you got Lost Leaders, you got
We have actually a pretty broad variety, but still most of them are still kind of bump into each other. And so what we're trying to do right now is make them a lot more distinct. So you got Mark Dewey.
Yeah.
He's in the category all by himself.
Oh yeah.
There isn't anybody else in his category with baseball. I think the comedian next door, he gets political sometimes, but he's still a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
And he's in his very unique stage, very unique area, and it's not really a saturated environment.
Right.
And so, on the network, mostly what I'm looking at is for somebody who is able to find their distinct niche, be really good in that niche, and have drawn an audience to that niche.
Yeah.
That is a niche that's distinct. I don't need another cross-politic on the network.
Not.
Right?
Yeah.
I need somebody who is, on the network or shows on the network that's distinctly unique from anything else that we have on there.
Yeah.
In one sense or another. So that's kind of I've been a little picky lately and very slow.
Of course you should be.
I've got legal help that's on the network. Right?
Yeah.
So we got Dave Fowler that's on the network. I've been wanting that. We have a new cross-politic is news, is commentary.
Yeah.
Right? We're commentary. But I actually want a political show that gets into the ins and outs of the not the literacy, but the of the laws. I want to go kind of more what does Congress have? Let's go to the congressional laws that they're presenting in bills. That's what the bills, and work through those and talk about what this is going to do. We need something that's way more that's dissecting the laws and what those laws really have implications for
sure,
the future.
yeah.
So I'm still looking for those type of things. So right now, my headspace is in that area of finding those type of shows. So just so you know, so that the last thing I kind of want to do is really have another theological show. I think.
No, totally, yeah.
But there's mainly there's two things that, one, my head is kind of in a different space for thinking about shows.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I think there's two things that you still would have to have if we wanted to put you on, which would be, have you done what you do in such a way that you have gathered an audience that you just haven't figured out how to monetize yet. Right. And then how much does that audience move or do what you tell them to do? Right. That's kind of the. But as far as like just show stuff, oh man, I want to actually go through and watch like 3 shows and systematize it. Yeah. And then have that conversation with you. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be what I really want to do.
Because you've only seen bits and pieces.
Because I've watched. Well, when I'm on Facebook, I'll watch like 10 minutes here. Or I'll see you grab some poetry. Yeah. And I gotta say, oh, okay. And I'll see. Literally, this is how we go. I'll be in the studio. I'll watch some poetry, and as you're going through, you'll be halfway through. A notification on Twitter comes up, and I go and start working.
Yeah. You got a lot going on.
And it's not to say anything that is not good. It's just that I am always doing you see my eyes right now.
Of course, yeah.
I'm doing like 10, 13 things at a time, but I appreciate what you're doing and what you're trying to give people a taste and sample for. Yeah. Now, what I want to do is I want to give a good critique that will help you grow in the systematics of your show, like how to run it, how do you work with music, all that stuff. That's when I do it more of I want to watch 3 of your best shows and do that kind of critique.
Yeah, totally. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, wrapping that up, then the one thing I'll tell you, just so you have an idea, because you're not going to find a whole lot of it. The front end analytics are even worse than the back end analytics, and the back end analytics on any of these platforms is pretty bad in general. They tell you all the wrong stuff. Well, I have about 15 to 30 people who will do just about anything I ask them to do, and that's listening to every show. That's all.
Do they know that?
Oh, they do. They do. And some of them will be like, "Yeah, we're with you," when they hear that too. You know what I'm saying? But then I have a few stragglers, but that's about the audience I have. And that's small, but it's one of those things that I feel like dovetails in, that the content dovetails so well with what y'all already have. And I'm not pitching it any more than that, but I'll go ahead and wrap here. If you have stuff you want to say to a whole bunch of particularly artists who are trying to find community with one another in the body of Christ, and who are feeling alone and discouraged, and like God's called them to do something, but they're not seeing a whole lot of fruit here or there, or they did see fruit and then Bezos took it away. I have one friend who's with all the Kindle stuff that they've been changing, has lost about half his income recently. And there's all kinds of stuff like that, and we feel like we're beholden to all these groups and just trying to find ways. And
here's some things I would say. There's a book, and I think it's by what's the rapper's name? Rakim. I think it's by Rakim. Real Artists Don't Starve. That's a good thing.
I've read that one.
Yeah, you read that? It's a really good book.
It's been a while, but
the other thing I think that people have to do, artists have to do, especially when it comes to both, this will help when it comes to fellowship and when it comes to your craft. People will make art, people will do artistic things, and they really, really, really like them. The problem is they don't know how to get hot.
Right.
And artists...
And when you say get hot, be clear. When you say hot, be clear.
Okay, because I'm not on a hip-hop show. You're right. When I say get hot, I mean get to a place where you produce something that people like so much that no matter where you go, they're going to be willing to follow you. And not just some people. I mean a large mass of people. A large mass of people get hot. Get hot also means make an extremely good product.
Right.
Make your product so good, so amazing that people have to deal with it. They have to take it really seriously. Right. Even if they're like, man, I don't really like these people, but I love what they do. It's kind of get hot, man. That has a lot of equity in the culture.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
And it gathers people to you as well. And say, man, how did you do this? And you get to tell them.
Exactly. So I appreciate your time. time, man.
I'm glad we were able to finally do
Absolutely.
this. Okay, I got to run to another podcast.
Yeah. Phil Lawler, either show. Jason, probably the second show.
Send them to me.
And I will. And Marcus Pittman. I had him from Lore.
I
I got all your buddies on. I got Joffrey Swade on there, man. Thank you. Anyway.
So.
All right. We'll see you, man. Have a good one.
I like that.
There you go.
That's where I was drawn.
Anyway, that was it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I got to go do stuff now.
God of songs said